Hello everybody and welcome to Notorious Yugioh. I am Notorious Cly and this is the deck I'm going to be playing in the upcoming format for Yugioh Duel Links. And I say upcoming format because the ban list has not taken effect yet. I don't know why Konami likes to announce a ban list and then wait like 2 weeks to implement it, but here we are, waiting patiently so I can play my favorite deck of all time, old reliable, pure Resonators. Normally in these deck profiles, we do something with a little bit of structure and order and go pretty in depth on everything, but you guys have already seen about 4 different versions of Resonators from me at this point, in addition to those of you who know me from the Guild of Gurus Discord server. You've probably seen like 1,000 of these deck profiles or deck breakdowns by this point. So I think we're gonna forego the formalities for this one and we're just gonna talk about my favorite archetype and favorite deck of all time. If ever you guys want to talk about Resonators with me, just find me on the Discord. There's a link down in the description, click it, join it, at me, Notorious Cly. Shouldn't be too hard to find me, I've got the same Resonator profile picture. I'm around, I'm easy to get to. For those of you who are newer to Duel Links or just returning to Duel Links and you missed Resonator's introduction to the game, I'd be more than willing to go over the deck with you in depth, but I don't think this video is the right place for that because of the reasons I mentioned before. I've had a bunch of these already. In addition to that, I've gone over a bunch of stuff on the Discord. So if you have any questions, please, you guys too, come find me. Twitter, Discord, comments of this video, wherever. I'll be more than happy to answer them. So let's not waste any more time with the preamble. Let's just get into the card by card and then I'll talk a little bit about why I want to be playing each card. So starting in a way that makes sense, not the way that Duel Links decides to organize your cards. 3 Crimson Resonator, lifeblood of the deck. Crimson is the card that makes everything go. It offers so much value and so much flexibility to the strategy that you have to play 3 of these in order to see the deck function to its fullest potential or even at a high level. Next up, 3 Red Resonator. This is standard. I don't really need to explain this a whole bunch, but I'm probably going to end up doing it anyways just because that's my nature. That's what I do. I over-explain everything. Red Resonator is great. Can be an emergency play starter. It can get you to a level 8 synchro. Gains you life points when it's special summoned, which offers a lot of survivability to the deck, in addition to giving you access to so many cool tech choices. Red's pretty awesome. Next up is also pretty standard, Wandering King Wildwind, the best non-tuner support card designed for Resonators yet. Hopefully the new structure deck that was announced in the OCG makes its way to the TCG and changes that for us, because I love Wandering King Wildwind, but I would love to see something even crazier in the non-tuner Resonator support department. So yeah, Wildwind special summons itself. Conditionally, of course, I'm not going to read the conditions, you guys are probably familiar with it by now. And get you part of your follow-up for the next turn after you've put it in graveyard. So, Wildwind, love it. No idea why it's a Panther, but who cares? It's cool. Keeping up with the standard issued Resonator stuff, Resonator Call, get you access to Crimson easier, in addition to stocking your hand with another Resonator so you can use your Demon's Resonance skill. It's a crazy card because it gets you access to the crazy card in Crimson Resonator. The last card that I'm planning on playing that I think is sort of standard issue for Resonators is Mystical Space Typhoon. This could realistically be any back row removal tool, but I prefer MST in this build, and I prefer MST in all the builds that I end up using Solemn Scolding with. Sorry for the abrupt cut, everybody. I have a visitor, as you all can see. Elliott's here again, doing his thing, wanting attention. I think he's starting to realize that if he comes down here while I'm on the computer, he'll get attention. So this may become a common occurrence. But anyways, as I was saying, I don't really like playing Cosmic Cyclone with builds with Solemn Scolding because I don't like that I couldn't activate both of them in the same turn unless I have already gotten access to Special Summon Red. Sometimes you're just not going to be able to get the Special Summon of Red for whatever reason. And I always like to have my cards being activatable, being live as often as possible. So if I can deck build around unforeseen, unfortunate circumstances, then I'm going to. So MST paired up with Solemn Scolding, that's the way I like to do it. Nothing wrong if you like the extra bonus of banishing spell traps with Cosmic Cyclone. Teach their own. I don't think there's a correct answer. And I guess the last card you could consider standard issue for Resonators is Monster Reborn. This one's kind of borderline because you don't need to play it, but it offers so much value for the deck just because it can get you a key piece to start your combo from either your graveyard or your opponent's graveyard. It can get you a big monster back after your opponent outs it. It's just such a good card and so flexible and so valuable that it's really hard to turn down. Being able to have the 1 power card insurance against being stopped dead in your tracks is kind of nice. Hopefully that word soup made a little bit of sense. I'm going to simplify it just to make myself feel happier. Monster Reborn good. Play it if you can. And yeah, that's it. That's it for the standard issue pieces. The rest of the cards aren't really anything flashy or fancy either. They're just really good cards. They're just like generically good in the most matchups, which is why I'm planning on playing them in the upcoming format, because we kind of know the decks that are going to be good, and it seems like there's going to be a handful of them. So I want to have cards that cover as many matchups as possible. In addition to that, the King of Games Climb is a long best of 1 format, so you're going to see a lot of stuff. So I always like having the stuff that I'm playing be useful. Even if it's not the most optimal choice for one specific matchup, at least it will be good enough against everything to make me not go crazy with I don't know, speculating and deck building and theory crafting different decks and builds and ratios and all that nonsense. To avoid my own insanity, I just play the stuff that is the most generically good against the most matchups. Like Dark Hole, just destroy everything your opponent controls, and sometimes stuff you control too. But going second, Dark Hole is basically just Prikeki. Crazy card, crazy powerful, and great going second. And then another crazy card, Solemn Scolding. I love this card. This is a card that Resonators has almost unique access to just because the life point gain that red provides to you. Just being able to tell your opponent no, basically at any point in the duel, is incredible. Solemn Scolding is also great offensively as well as defensively. We already know how to use it defensively. You negate their key spell, you negate their key monster summon or whatever. But offensively, I can't tell you how satisfying it is to see your opponent activate Kiteroid in hand while you already have Solemn Scolding set and you're attacking for game, and then you flip Solemn Scolding, negate the Kiteroid, and then your attack pushes through and you win. Oh, so good. So yeah, it's great offensively too, especially if you already have it set and you're attacking into unknown back row. Great to just be able to blank anything to keep advantage in the duel. And then Doom Caliber Knight is the last card. This is pretty standard, but I know not everybody likes running it, just because it is pretty easy for decks to play around since it is mandatory, meaning the first effect that they proc, they will be able to out the Doom Caliber Knight. So it's super easy for some decks to play around, but at the very least you're stealing some tempo away from them by forcing them to proc the Doom Caliber Knight before they actually start playing. One of my favorite things to do with Doom Caliber Knight and Solemn Scolding and Red Nova Dragon is to form what I call the Diagonal of Death, where you have Red Nova Dragon in the EMZ, Doom Caliber Knight in the middle monster zone, and then Solemn Scolding set in the other far zone, and forms a diagonal. It's just a Diagonal of Death. You're going to negate the first monster effect that they activate. You have a big monster that's going to negate an attack and can't be destroyed by their card effects. And then you have Solemn Scolding just to blank anything that would really threaten Doom Caliber Knight or Red Nova Dragon. Anytime I see the Diagonal of Death, I don't think I've lost the duel. For obvious reasons. So that's the main deck. I suppose we can touch on the skill. Doesn't really need a ton of introduction. It's Demon's Resonance. It's the only skill worth playing in Resonators just because it does so much for the deck. It minimizes the downside of needing to play so many tuners, so many Resonators, by letting you turn one of those into the missing piece to combo, or letting you turn it into the missing piece after you're interrupted. In addition to that, the ability to stock your extra deck with Red Rising Dragons every time you activate it is really cool. It's allowed you to go from playing 3 Red Rising Dragons in the extra deck to 2 Red Rising Dragons in the extra deck, which means you opened up another spot for a toolbox monster. The extra deck used to be really tight, and it's not as tight anymore. You could even get away with playing one Red Rising Dragon if you wanted to now, but that's just a little too risky to me. I don't like having to proc the skill unnecessarily just to put the second or even third Red Rising Dragon in the extra deck. I'd rather just play the 2 and be safe. Oh, bye Elliott. Have a good time, bud. And then for the extra deck, we have standard lineup again. 2 Red Rising, we just covered why we play 2 instead of 1 or 3. We have our level 8 Dark Dragon Synchro Toolbox monsters. Dark End Dragon, the best one because sending is the best form of removal next to banishing. Red Dragon Archfiend, great to board wipe everything in attack position, including your own monsters. Please play around it. Infernated Doom Dragon, this could be a second Dark End. These 2 are usually the ones I swap out for a second Dark End just because I love Dark End that much. But I think I'm just going to rock with Doom Dragon. I love having the prismatic that I got from one of my UR prismatic tickets. In addition to that, the burn damage it does is really handy. It'll cheese out some duels for you, and it opens up another OTK line if your opponent has a big monster on board and you can burn them. Synchro climb into Bane and then smash something else. Then Red Dragon Archfiend, I guess it's a level 8 Dark Dragon Synchro Toolbox monster, but it's more of a combo piece just to get to Red Nova Dragon. It's nice that you can recycle it off the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane, but mostly it's just there to get the Red Nova Dragon. And then Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane, great big beater. Love to synchro climb out of this from one of the 8s. And it's worth noting that Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane's effect to tribute a monster you control to special summon a Red Dragon Archfiend monster from your graveyard can get you Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, Red Dragon Archfiend, or I guess even Red Dragon Archfiend Bane if you play 2 for whatever reason and already have one in the graveyard. So really good card. Great big monster that is able just to smash face and close out games for you. Its effect to special summon Resonators, one from graveyard, one from your deck with same level, comes up every now and then too in the grind game just to get you a Resonator back and another body on board, and hopefully get you a head start for next turn and keep you around through your opponent's turn. And then our last card is none other than Red Nova Dragon. I love Red Nova Dragon. I oscillate back and forth between how much I exactly love it, but at the end of the day, I always love Red Nova Dragon. I love that Resonators has a card that just forces your opponent to have an out. I know a lot of decks, especially the best decks, always seem to have an out and an accessible out. That's why they're the best decks. But being able to have just a big, hard to get rid of asshole, for lack of a better word, is it's really nice. It's really cool. In addition to that, there's something about my monkey brain that likes seeing big number, and I love seeing a 5,000 attack Red Nova Dragon. So that's the deck. I mean, it's pretty simple. I don't really think I needed to talk as much as I did, but I like doing it. I think I could have just summarized this as, and it's a standard Resonator core featuring the generically best support cards I could find for it in Dark Hole, Solemn Scolding, and Doom Caliber Knight. And then we're running one of each of the level 8 Dark Dragon Synchro Toolbox monsters in addition to Bane. So yeah, but that's not nearly as entertaining, and hopefully you guys like listening to me talk about Resonators. It's something I like doing an awful lot. I fully expect to make King of Games with this deck, and I expect it to be a relatively easy climb. I'm pretty good at piloting the deck. In addition to that, I don't always try to push as hard as I can for an early season King of Games run. So as the days roll by and we get deeper into the season, the competition starts to thin out a little bit. You still see the same distribution of decks between meta and non-meta. It's just that the players are either a little more inexperienced with their deck and they're playing it for the first time, or they're still trying to work out all the intricacies of it, or you see unoptimized versions of the deck just because getting cards is so damn hard in Duel Links, which is one of the reasons why I'm playing this instead of something like Crusadia. Not that I'm upset about it, but it does kind of annoy me that Duel Links makes it so damn hard for you to try and play the cool, new, interesting deck that you see and you like. So that's the deck, everybody, and once the new ban list rolls around and I don't have to worry about being hand-looped by Infernity anymore, hopefully I'll have some more stuff to talk to you about, specifically with this build, and maybe we'll see another replay video. Please, by all means, everybody, let me know what kind of content you want to see. It's very helpful for me to know what exactly you guys want out of this channel. That way I can go and make it and I don't have to guess. I'm still going to do a good mix of things that I find cool and interesting, but odds are if you're watching this channel, we find the same things or most of the same things cool and interesting. So if there's something cool and interesting you want to see, let me know, because odds are I'm going to find it cool and interesting too. That's enough of me rambling. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Again, if you ever want to nerd out about Resonators with me, Discord link down in the description. I'll see you there. And until next time, be safe, have fun, everybody.